is in high demand. We've got coal here in South Africa. You know what is the problem? There is no Transnet to carry the coal to the harbors. And then you want to blame Zimbabweans that don't have a job when your government is so incapacitated. The coal is 400 and something per ton now. It's in demand. If you increase the Transnet capacity, we collect as many as possible coal from all the mines into the harbor. How many jobs can you create? Now, we've got a crisis of steel, not only in South Africa, all over the world. We've got chrome here that gets to be sent to China, unprocessed, and brought back into this country as steel, and it becomes very expensive. Can you see how much this beneficiation of this chrome can create jobs in South Africa? In Sekhukhune alone, you don't need big equipment to mine chrome. It's just here, it's available. That's why they say they call those people illegal miners. So there is lack of leadership. Also in the whole country and the whole continent, to an extent, we do not produce a car. These people who come to South Africa, let's take Nigerians for instance. Nigeria is doing well, better than us. It's always either us or Nigeria, number one. They still leave their country and come here. Not because there is an economic crisis per se. There should be something unique about us. These Africans like us. They look up to South Africa. Why is South Africa not producing a South African car? Because there is already the continental market. Quarter a population of Africa is in Nigeria. Why do you fight them instead of embracing them and making them your customers because they love everything South Africans? All of this is not happening because we've got lack of leadership. There's a crisis of electricity, not only in South Africa, in the whole of SADC region. We've got the biggest electricity company called Eskom. Why are we not capacitating it and start providing the whole SADC with electricity, and the whole SADC starts paying South Africa for the electricity that comes from South Africa and create more jobs for our people? It is because there is no visionary leadership, not because there are no opportunities. Everything has been killed. State-owned companies have been destroyed. They've destroyed Denel. They've destroyed SAA. When I spoke much earlier, that if they destroy SAA and privatize it, me and you cannot afford to go to Cape Town. People thought I was mad. Now a single ticket to Cape Town is 6,000, meaning the inland people and the coastal people are going to be existing in different countries because we cannot afford to visit one another. We should have protected these state-owned companies and expanded them to create jobs, but also to stimulate economic activity in our country. All these foreigners who come here, let's identify skills amongst them. Surely they've got something to offer. Let's take the Zimbabweans, for instance. They never had Bantu education. Ian Smith gave them quality education, the same as white people, because there were not enough whites to carry the economy of Zimbabwe. Are you saying amongst these Zimbabweans there's nothing that we can tap from and use that to grow our economy the same way the Americans are doing? When you are good and have something to contribute to the economy, they give you a green card. They don't chase you away. So here we just say people are illegal and all migrants must leave our country without asking ourselves what makes our country attractive to these people and how do we maximize out of that.
You have been criticized by those who support Operation Dudula that you are supporting the alleged drug lords and criminals who are foreign nationals. How do you respond to that criticism?
Those are small kids with small brains, the size of a peanut. I fight real battles of the continent. I have no time for amateurs who are trying their luck using my name. I've got nothing to do. Everybody knows where I stand. I don't care what they say about me. They can make all sorts of allegations. They are arrivalist. I fought here the biggest establishment against me, and I'm not going to be threatened by small kids because I have no time for them. They are new into what they are doing. If you listen to how they speak, if you listen to the posture they take, they all imitate me. So why should I be worried by imitators? I've no time for kids. There's no principle to engage with there. I'm dealing here with principle.
For the country to move forward, there has to be unity.
Yes.
Of South Africans and then the region and the continent. As a country right now, there is growing concern that the country itself, as South Africans, we are divided. And therefore, resolving the problems that we have, it's impossible.
We don't have a common vision. And the common vision is leadership. We ought to say, as a country, this is what we strive for, and get everybody to buy into that idea and move forward. We cannot continue the way things are, where you have resources concentrated on a certain race, and then the certain race excluded from the resources. We cannot allow this media-sponsored outrage against the foreign nationals. It's a sponsored view. I mean, there are some TV stations where people say there were large numbers supporting these anti-foreigners. But when you look at those people, they can't even fill up a bus because it's sponsored from somewhere where the blacks, apart from being divided between white and black, we must still divide the blacks themselves so that there is no group in society that is united with a common purpose. So the principle I'm driving now, I don't care whether it's popular or not, but people should at least know what you stand for. I don't know what our president stands for. I don't know what our government stands for. And therefore, I refuse to be like them and be turned into an amoeba because there is a sponsored outrage against that which I stand for. No, rather die with my boots on than die on my knees.
As you build the party, what are you focusing on? And looking at the fact that in terms of the party, it has gained traction on the continent.
Well, firstly, our intention is to build a continental movement. That's why the logo of the EFF is Africa. It's not South Africa. We did so deliberately because we know that South Africa will never succeed in an economic liberation without other African countries being economically liberated. We actually failed Zimbabwe. When Zimbabwe took the land, we should have followed and everybody else should have followed. Zimbabwe was not going to be isolated. They would have come in and negotiated on how do they move forward because now we're all owning our land. The EFF's focus now is 1 million members by December. We must have quantity. Public recruitment. No one goes into anyone's house. You go and recruit publicly. Once people are recruited publicly, there must be a public induction workshop in that ward where we are going to politicize members of the EFF, not because they joined because Malema must be the chairperson. They should understand the purpose. Once you workshop your members, you turn quantity into quality. And therefore you've got 1 million soldiers on the ground. Come 2024, it becomes easy for us to take Gauteng. As things stand now, Gauteng is gone in terms of the indicates of local government elections. In the previous elections, Gauteng is governed with 50.1%. There is nothing that is going to happen magically between now and 2024 which is going to turn things around. There's nothing that is going to happen magically in KwaZulu-Natal, where the ANC derived a lot of support during President Zuma. When the ANC was declining all over South Africa, it was increasing in KwaZulu-Natal. Now it's declining all over South Africa, including in KwaZulu-Natal now. They are no longer an area where they can claim that they are growing significantly. I can tell you the EFF will be a deciding factor when it comes to 2024 if it will not be a government. The ANC is doing nothing. They are tearing each other apart every day. If you ask them what is their agenda, the ANC agenda today is step aside. They are always waiting for another member to step aside. That is what they are pursuing now. There is no agenda of poverty alleviation, of service delivery. There is an agenda of eating your own children alive.
You spoke about the continental movement. What do you hope to achieve with this continental movement?
Well, this movement is necessitated by political vacuum in the continent. We lack inspirational leadership. We lack the leadership with a political will in the continent. All of our leaders today are driven by personal accumulation and desire for power. They just enjoy presiding over their small territories and being called president or prime ministers. They hold no agenda to unite the continent, protect its minerals, and make sure that the continent is put in the world map as an equal partner to Asia, as an equal partner to Europe and America and the rest of the world. So our mission is to make sure that there is one president in Africa, there is one cabinet in Africa, there is one currency in Africa, there is one military in Africa, and there is one reserve bank for the continent. We need an African command team, highly capacitated and highly sophisticated, to deal with any form of killing of civilians in Africa, because we need to put an end to that nonsensical act where when a person holds a different view, it's a target for assault or killing. We need inspired African solution when it comes to peace and economic development of our continent. We need the land of Africa, both under Francophones and Anglophones, owned by the people of Africa, and stopping to see each other through the eyes of our colonizers. That's all what we want as the EFF. We are a younger generation, we are an inspired generation, and we are no longer our parents, and they must stop treating us the same way they treated our parents.
Former Ghanaian President Kwame Nkrumah and the late former Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi also wanted a united Africa. But this didn't happen. It's impossible.
It is not, because we are inspired by them. I think Kwame Nkrumah inspired a lot of African movements and organizations, although their outcomes were not what he would have required. But something came out of his effort. The brother leader was necessarily killed for that, because if you look at Libya, it was one of the most successful countries, despite the fact that there will be questions about the leadership style. We cannot define democracy according to how America and Europe wants us to define it. We must define it according to how it works for us. So the Libyans were organized the way they were organized, and they were prosperous. Look, today the NATO forces, together with America, they've destroyed a potential African country, which should have inspired many other countries. We shouldn't say we can't do anything because those who came before us have failed to do so. I mean, Mandela himself, before him, there were lots of presidents of the ANC who never saw the day of democracy. But inspired by their efforts, he himself continued to fight and ushered us into a democratic dispensation in 1994. We thank him for that, and we thank those who came before him. In the same way, we thank Nkrumah, and we thank Gaddafi, we thank Mugabe and President Mandela and O.R. Tambo for having inspired us to continue their legacy. President Mandela knew very well in 1994 when he took over that it's not yet Uhuru. That's why he said to all of us, "Aluta continue." If he knew that was the end of the struggle, he would have said, "Aluta continue." So we are inspired by his words that the struggle continues, and we'll continue with that struggle.
To achieve this, by now you should have been in contact or interacting with the leadership on the continent. Are you doing that?
We are.
If you are,
we
can
are.
you share with us?
We are. I mean, in the SADC itself, I don't think there is a single country without the presence of the EFF. I mean, we also even have members of parliament in Namibia. We are contesting elections in Lesotho. We've got EFF in Swaziland championing and leading the unrest in Swaziland. We are in Nigeria, we are in Ghana, we are in many other countries of the continent. Because it's a new idea, we shouldn't rush it. We should make sure that we dig a solid foundation for this movement to carry the whole continent.
Your message to South Africans, particularly young people who are saying Malema has abandoned us.
Well, they know, the young people of South Africa, that Julius Malema cares for them and the EFF cares for them. If you look at in all universities that have gone to elections now, the EFF has been engaged in clean sweep because it's the home of young people. So anyone who argues that young people do no longer see the EFF as their home is really daydreaming. Any event of the EFF later is being Sharpeville, Langa, and in PE. Majority of those who participated in those activities are young people. We are the organization that is inspired by the suffering and the struggles of young people, particularly African young people. We are going to fight this unemployment. We are the ones who fought for the insourcing of security guards. We are the ones who fought for insourcing of cleaners in the municipalities where we had influence, in the universities where we had influence. We are the ones who put before a parliament private members' bill that demanded that all those who are working for government through companies must be insourced and work directly for government so that we reduce unemployment. The ANC, working with the DA, used their majority to reject such a bill. So we are the only hope of the hopeless masses of our people, daily involved in resolving their problems. All the farm workers, the security guard, the shopkeepers, when they've got a problem, including the unemployed, their home is the EFF. When a white person bullies them, when a boss bullies them anyway, they say to their bosses, we're going to report you to the EFF because we are the hopeless of the hopeless masses of our people.